Hey traders, welcome back to the FX YouTube channel. Hope everyone is doing good today. In today's video, I'll start with a quick trade recap, then review the recent price action and analyze the markets to give some ideas where price may want to go to today. So let's get into the charts and have a look in more detail. So as I said, I wanted to start with a trade recap first. So yesterday you could see price was pushing down. It broke the lows here. Then you can see it had a impulsive move to the downside where there it started to accumulate, and then the price started to shoot up, tapped into the last point of supply, and this is a 15-minute or 5-minute last point of supply. Thereafter, price reacted off of it, creating a flip zone. And then price pushed up, broke the last point of supply, and at this point I was looking for a retest at the flip zone, or even potentially coming back down to the extreme. So when I didn't see the price looking like it was going to push down all the way to the extreme, we started to see a small push to the upside. And thereafter, I just set a limit just above. No, it was a buy stop. Sorry, I set a buy stop just above the flip zone. When price came back down, tested the flip zone one more time, I just entered the trade. You can see from my entry, price push through it. I thought it was just going to go to the moon at that point. But unfortunately it came back down one more time for another retest. You can see I was clearly safe with my stop loss on that retest, but then after that it shot up and had a very nice impulsive move to the upside. I think I took my first take profit around this area where I started to see price looking like it was going to push back down. So thankfully I did take profits at that level, because if I was full volume and the price came all the way back down here, I would have been very uncomfortable. But fortunately I did take half off the trade at this point, so even if it came down and took me out, I wasn't too concerned. But fortunately it did start to push up again. I believe I closed the trade at this point because my bias was bearish, so I wasn't sure how much further price was going to continue up. It did respect supply, and I was thinking potentially it could just reverse from here. So I actually closed the trade and I entered a short at the same time, but obviously that short didn't play out, but it did at least give me a break even instead of losing anything. So with this trade, it was actually a decent trade. Great way to start Monday. So anyways, that was my quick trade recap for the long I took yesterday. And the funny thing is, if I would have held it, this, it actually did come all the way up to supply, where my first TP actually was. My first TP was actually originally here, but as I saw price retracing, I started to close the trade, and when the price came back, that's when I completely closed the trade and started looking for shorts. But shorts at the time weren't the right idea, because as you can see, price continued to the upside. But for now it's starting to look good for shorts. I'll get into that a little more when I get to the EU analysis. So anyways, let's get back to the topic of daily analysis. So starting with the fundamentals, we have services PMI for USD during New York session. So we could see some big movements at that time. Whether I trade or not, I don't know yet. Just have to see what's presented to us, and then I'll decide at that point. So moving to DXY. Since the last video, which was around here, so this is a daily open for DXY. So you can see DXY continued to the upside as expected. DXY broke the previous high and created a new higher high here. And then during London session, we started to see a pullback. DXY came down. It filled the 4-hour imbalance first, and then it created a wild wick during today's daily open. Why, I don't know. But since then, came down further. It tapped into 4-hour demand, which is this area here, and it also tapped into the OTE area. And since then, price has started to shift, and we may start to see continuation to the upside from here. As for my bias, I'm still bullish on DXY. Looking at the price action today, I'm hoping that DXY continues to the upside and breaks the highs again. And then when PMI comes around, look for either continuation or potential reversals. My guess is if the high has gone before PMI, PMI could trigger a reversal and at the very least mitigate the lows, but potentially trigger a bigger reversal or pullback and potentially a reversal. Now on to EU, starting with the 4-hour. So since the last video, I was thinking EU would consolidate and potentially come up a little higher before pushing down. So this was the daily start. Instead of doing any type of consolidation or even any type of pullback, it just melted down, and then it continued on, took out the lows as I was expecting. I just didn't expect it to happen so quickly. And then after taking the lows, you can see a lower low was created here, using the previous low as inducement to trigger a pullback. As I previously showed you on my trade recap, there was a really nice setup for taking the price to the upside. But since then, EU has come up to test the 4-hour supply. So 4-hour supply is actually this big area right here, which I didn't really mark on the chart just because it was so huge. And it did tap into a 15-minute supply that triggered the reversal. But unfortunately, it didn't make it to the OTE area. It came really close. And it also didn't make it to the flip zone that I was watching the closest, because I was favoring this flip zone for potential reversal areas. So now let's have a look at the 15-minute chart. If you look at the 15-minute time frame, you can see that EU, ever since yesterday, has correctively pushed to the upside. And then during Asia, we had that last liquidation pushing to the upside, clearing liquidity here, all the liquidity that was created here as well. And then after that, we started to see some clear signs of weakness. So we see the break of the last point of demand here, had a nice pullback, potential flip zone, by the way. Let me just mark it on my chart now. So potential area for flip zone entries to take the price down, and then after that pushed even deeper didn't break this demand area, but for the time being, I mean, knowing that my bias is bearish, and we had a really nice shift here, I'm looking for shorts now. So going to my bias, as we are getting close to Frankfurt and London, I'm hoping that we get a pullback, and we can look to take the price down. At the same time, structure is really only showing us a higher low for the time being. There is a chance that price may continue to the upside, but seeing how higher time frames are bearish, well, extremely bearish, and it appears that we have alignment with the higher time frames now, I will be looking for shorts at the supply if I get confirmation for entries. So as I just drew out, this flip zone could be a potential area to look for shorts, but at the same time I'm looking at this as an area of liquidity that could get sweet, so tapping into more the extreme of supply before reversing and taking the price down. Sorry, just having a quick look at the news because we had something that triggered price movement. Not sure why. It was inflation rate for Netherlands. I wouldn't expect this to have such a move on the price, but it did. So anyways, where was I? So I was talking about the short scenarios. The other scenario is if the high goes, which could be possible. As for right now, this is just a higher low. I would hope that price would come in to that flip zone that I've been monitoring, which would also bring us into the OTE area, and this could also be a really good area to look for reversals to take the price down. And as with DXY, I would like to see a bigger move. So for EU, a big push down, hopefully breaking the lows again. And then when PMI comes around, we could see continuation or possibly a reversal. If the lows have gone, then potentially that could trigger a reversal after PMI, and at the very least push up and liquidate some of the highs that were recently created. But this could set us up for the rest of the week, where we could potentially start to see a bigger pullback on EU. So I may trade PMI today, depending on what price action looks like. But if it's too choppy, then I'll probably skip it. But I'm hoping that we do get a long setup later on today, because this could potentially set us up for a big reversal, and a bigger pullback and potentially a reversal with the anticipation of the ECB interest rate hikes coming later on this week. So anyways, that more or less sums up the way I'm looking at the price for right now. So as I said, I'm bearish. I'm looking for shorts right now. But hopefully you guys found this video useful. Let me know your thoughts on today's price action by leaving a comment below. And as a reminder, if you found value in this video, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any future videos. And have a wonderful trading day today, and look forward to seeing you for the next one. See you guys soon. Peace.
Hey, you made it to the very end. Thanks for that. If you could do me one more favor and click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, it'll allow the YouTube algos to kick in and help this channel grow. Thanks again. Cheers.